Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back to Inside the Lines. We have more NBA playoffs for you guys as always. We can also take a little bit of a look into tomorrow's games if we need to. Any questions, any more NFL draft questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Jake has done even more digging about trends and things going on. So fear not, we have all the information that you would need. And we don't have much baseball today, so it's really just going to be an NBA game or NBA day. I have some picks myself. Let's take a look back at yesterday with the team. Another solid day in the NBA here. Me and Steven go 3-2. Baseball looking better. We hit on some awesome plus money plays. The Braves, so close.
Yeah, they blew a 3-1 lead in the top of the ninth, and it cost us a perfect MLB day. But we still hit Acuna in the first inning, so it was no sweat with that at all. I think he walked or singled and stole a base right out of the get-go as a leadoff hitter. And Mookie, had 8 total bases or something like that. So no sweater right there. So it's pretty much the 2+ monies hit easily. The other ones were the ones that
I blame you for not having the guts to do an alt line on Mookie at like a plus 300 over 3.5 total bases. And the NBA split was the good one. We split with the winning the plus money one and missing on the BAM with 0. So again, only 2 negative days since the start of the play-in for us.
Yeah, this is our bread and butter, though. NBA props. This is when we start to shine here. All right. Well, speaking of, let's get right into it. We'll take a look at the slate for today. We will start with the beautiful Cavs Magic game that everyone's just dying for. I actually have some plays in this game myself.
Yeah, so eventually the line opened Cleveland 2.5-point favorites after they won pretty easily the first 2 games. But I think everyone expects Orlando to get one, and Orlando has been much better at home. Their point differential is plus 5 at home versus negative on the road. There's a massive swing. They were plus 8, at home versus minus 4 on the road. So that's night and day. So I'm hoping that it's a Paolo game. The line's high, 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists is very high. It's higher than his season average, but I'm just expecting massive, unlimited field goal attempts because there's nothing. Orlando achieved all their goals this year, right? They had a great year, made the playoffs, solid 5 seed, young. Now the thing they got to figure out is Paolo Banchero not only their best player, is he like a true potential superstar, or is he just a very good player? And so to do that, see if he can step up and win them a playoff game. I also like our nifty little thing. Other power forwards who averaged 32 to 38 PRA, they have scored 25.8 with 1-4 over at Cleveland, but at home versus Cleveland, that's been 37.5. The line is up to minus 115. This is minus 108 earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, I think Orlando has to do everything they can just to shoot for their lives, right? I mean, it can't get much worse than it has on the road in Cleveland here. I'm looking at another Magic player here, going back to the good old faithful Franz Wagner over 1.5, 3 points made. Stunned to see this where it is, just minus 112 on DK. Actually, I think that's a lie. I feel like it's even less. It might be like minus 105. I'm going to look into that. Nonetheless, he had 2 3-pointers in game 1 and game 2 in Cleveland. So why do we not anticipate that he will be able to do the same thing, but in way favorable better conditions on his own home court, where the Magic are just an objectively way better team, and they're clearly not going to find the success in this game in the paint. They're just outsized there. It's just massive bodies in the paint there. So I feel like it has to be, not that it's going to be great 3-point shooting, but the attempts should be there. It should suck less than it has the past 2 games, and I think he will have to be a part of that situation here. So I like him to go over 1.5 3 points made.
I'm just curious what his numbers are. Interestingly weird. He's actually averaged fewer 3s at home, but you didn't hear that from me.
You know what? The whole team plays better at home, okay? It's got to get better than it has. I'm not asking him to play any better than he has this entire series. I'm just asking him to do what
he has too much fun at Epcot when he's at home.
This is true. As you do when you're in Orlando. Okay, I don't see any questions for this game. Oh wait, we got a few for Cleveland here. Okoro?
Yeah, I answered it. We had no value on him. We had 5.3, so probably nothing there.
All right, let's move right along then. Going to Philadelphia.
Mo Wagner. Oh, sorry. One more question. Mo Wagner over 9.5 points. We only have 6.5, so we don't want to. I know he's been playing. He's got more minutes. He's scoring double digits for the last 4 games, but I guess we're running more on the overall season average where he was in and out of the lineup. Again, I hope it's all Banchero and not Mo.
How about Max Strus here while we're at it? His line is 8.5. You got a friend in the chat on it.
We like his points at 10, not his rebounds and assists. So we have value. We have undervalue on his PRA, but value on the over on over 8.5 points.
There you go. Thread the needle. All right, let's go to the Knicks headed to Philly. Philly now home favorites, just barely 1.5 or 5.5 right now.
Yeah.
A lot of steam towards them. I guess the message being the role players have to be able to play better at home here. And then we'll see from Brunson what his deal is going to be here. This is a big game for him, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks, they got to feel good, not only up 2-0, but to win a game when Brunson's goes like at 7 for 29 or whatever it was, or maybe 8 for 29. So when you can win with your best game, I'd go with Dante DiVincenzo. We mentioned this yesterday. You could still get 14.5, although I think it's minus 120 at FanDuel. It's minus 106 this morning, so that's probably going up. The model's at 16 points. I love the fact that the over is 29-8. So basically half the season, second half of the season, he's been scoring way more than this and over 20 for the last month.
I'm going to go to the other side of the ball here. I'm going back to Kelly Oubre here. It's down to 9.5. I just have to. Asking him to score 10 points in Philadelphia seems like not a crazy thing to ask of him. The role players have to do something here. I don't think it's going to be Tobias Harris. He's just more heartbreaking to me than Kelly Oubre has been. I think there's more potential here with Oubre. 10 points from him. Is that really so hard to ask for? The model likes it. Model has him for like 14, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's going on with him. Why he's not, he had such a good streak to end the season.
Right.
Where he was like a 20 points per scorer. So definitely do. Any thoughts on Embiid here? His point prop 31.5. We only have 29 projected because it's always I would ordinarily, almost for any other player, especially something like Embiid, assume that he's going to get more minutes, more production in the playoffs, especially a critical game like this. But he's always such a risk to do something spectacular and hurt his knee.
Yeah, that's
so I don't have that. So if you feel good that this is not going to be an injury risk at all for Embiid, and the 37 minutes that's being projected is really going to be 44, 42, then yeah, if it's per minute, then we'd be fine with the over there. Because the over 31.5 was a lock for me for a while.
But Steven, I know it's a little juicy, but you could get OG Anunoby over 10 plus points at minus 190 on Hard Rock. But
yeah, him and Oubre.
Plus.
Yeah, him and Oubre are both like in this funk where they really.
But he's still hitting the 10 plus in pretty much every game.
That's a good leg of a parlay.
Yeah. So I parlayed that with Reeves. I like that too.
I have one more Sixers prop. This was kind of my fourth. Maybe doesn't need to be in here, but it is. It's too far gone. Nick Batum over 1.5 assists at plus 120. I like the price on this here. Hasn't hit this the past 2 games, but again, this Sixers offense, I feel like just has to step it up, which should trickle down to more assists opportunities. I feel like he's been playing enough minutes and is in the right position to be able to hit this, as long as some other people can hit some shots here. So at plus 120, I feel like it's worth a stab.
It looks like when he goes over, he goes way over. 5 and 7, the 2 times he's gone over recently.
Yeah.
I like that. Jalen Brunson, we do have it for 7 assists, so we lean over on 6.5.
Yeah, I see Toby talk in the chat. Look, I'm not against it, but it's too soon for me. He really burnt me the other day for my 3-0 night. I don't think I can go back. I'm going to need probably 4 to 5 business days to recover from him, and then I'll probably be back. But Kelly Oubre, if Kelly Oubre doesn't hit tonight, he is officially in my player prop playoff jail, along with Toby, who's currently
life sentence.
Yeah, which is crazy that the only 2 players in my playoff jail right now are 2 Sixers. Maybe if Oubre hits, he's out. All right. Oh, I saw this. I like this. I was thinking about making this one of my plays. Josh Hart under 12.5 rebounds does feel a little scary. It is very inflated number. I think the better play here is his under points and rebounds at 26.5. I think I like that play better from what I remember. I believe the model agreed, but I can't tell if it's a specifically fade Josh Hart moment or just like stay off Josh Hart overs moment.
I think it's a stay off just because he's going to play 48 minutes. And,
how do you take unders on a guy that's playing 48 minutes?
Especially with Philly having these guys who are hurt and Josh Hart just gets every rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's he's breaking the laws of my model. So I wouldn't. I don't like fading him. It's too scary. But it does seem awfully easy layup that he couldn't get. He won't get 13 rebounds. I mean, someone's got to tell Philadelphia that he's
3 of 5.
Did they tell him that he's like 6'4", 210 pounds? So he's not.
Yeah, whatever self confidence he has, I want it too because he's like.
It's not like he was a great rebounder in college at Villanova either.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
I don't know.
You don't see that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right, let's head over to the last game of the night here. Denver headed back to Los Angeles. We're out of the altitude. Things maybe could look better for the Lakers. I don't know how things could look any better than it did when they were up 20. I don't know really what you change about any of this to try to have a better night, but we're going back to our boy here, and I am too.
Yeah, so I am. I'm going to ignore my own advice, which was in my little tracking of self-analysis. My worst pick type is rebounds and assists with a 3 and 9 minus 620, minus 6 unit performance. But that be damned because Austin Reeves, we mentioned yesterday, is an act now to get over 12.5 points. So the odds makers had dropped it down to 12.5, maybe 13.5 in some spots. But then they've also offered a rebound and assist line of 8.5, and you can get 7.5 with minus 146 on FanDuel. And that his home average is over 10. So Reeves is still playing his minutes, and if he's not going to score, and he has to rebound and assist too. Or he's not going to sit there for his looks, right? It's like,
I don't know because I had this over 8.5 at plus 120 last game, and the fourth quarter he had 7 going into the fourth quarter, and he sat in the corner the whole fourth quarter and didn't touch the ball because LeBron touched the ball the whole fourth quarters. And I mean,
these numbers are not encouraging 1-3, but you look at this big ampersand at, right?
Yeah.
He's much lower on the road. And so, a lot of his recent, so of the 7-2 under streak, 6 of those were road games. And I think they were 5-1 under on the road. So look, let's not overthink the plus money on under your season average and very strong home trend. That's enough.
We love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah, I just went with the juicier over 3.5 rebounds.
And considering how good our picks have been, I can't go 3 and 10. That's impossible. I also like Anthony Davis plus 110 this morning. It's not available anymore. It's now minus 105, but I published it earlier, so I'm going to give myself credit for plus 110. I don't care what anyone says. Model is a 3.7, so there isn't a strong trend supporting it again, but the average of 3.5 when I picked this at plus money was sounded good to me. His average has been strong against Denver, solid 5, 6 and 6 over under.
Yeah. Emails the saying Reeves is in prop jail. I don't think he's in prop jail yet. Maybe after tonight, because I also have him. I'm going with the points over 13.5. I know you've talked about this too. It was kind of an act now. It's definitely, as far as Caesars, which is what the Sportsline website uses. I'm glad I took it last night because that's like minus 135 now. You can still find, you can't find the 12.5s anymore, but 13.5 I still think is doable. Like the Sixers, some type of role player has got to step up for the Lakers. I don't think it's going to be Hachimura, at least offensively. I think his hands are tied defensively, and that's where his priority should be. But as far as Austin Reeves, just getting out of the altitude, playing back at home, playing like himself, it's hard to imagine he'll have another quiet night like this. Especially LeBron and AD have literally been doing everything they can, like Embiid and Maxey. It feels like the stars are doing everything they can. They just need like one role player to pop off. You just got to pick the right one. And I think it has to be our boy Reeves. And if not, he can join Kelly Oubre in jail.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's all we have for the association tonight. Any questions about tomorrow's games, we can definitely answer them as well. But if not, I'm going to let Steven out of here.
Yep.
He's got places to be, Mr. Popular. Yep. All right. Well, you get out of here.
Who do you want the Ravens to draft before you go?
Yeah.
I hope an offensive lineman slips, but it doesn't look like it. I saw Jake's thing, and Kool-Aid McKinstry does seem like it's going to be him. I want to show Jake did a lot of hard work, and I summarized some of his data, and I did look at. So we looked at teams' average draft RAS, draft average PFF, average 24/7 sports high school rating. And Baltimore, interestingly, was one of the lower average RASs, but a very high average PFF. And that's what Kool-Aid is, as opposed to, say, Nate Wiggins of Clemson, who had a lower PFF and a higher RAS. And then there's the Alabama corner. We've already had Marlon Humphrey, Jalen Arbor-Davis. And that's why I'm not as high on Kool-Aid, because Jalen Arbor-Davis was only a 4th rounder, but at the same time, he really hasn't developed into what I thought he could be. And so I don't think we're going to be any better with Kool-Aid, but we probably need the depth. So that's probably fine. Whereas a great
offense, much better recruit. So I put him more in the Marlon Humphrey category than the Jalen Arbor-Davis.
Yeah, but I'm just like a little down on the Alabama corner. It's like when you had it 3 times in recent memory, it doesn't necessarily like make you too excited. Whereas I feel like a great, guy who could stick at right tackle year 1 or take over left tackle if Ronnie Stanley is really a mess, that would make us much better. Whereas a 1st-round corner, a 30th pick would make us just as good as we already are. Anyway, I'm out of here. Got to bring my daughter to a school event. It's nothing important.
Get out of here.
Nothing glamorous. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Me and Jake will continue this draft talk here. There's actually some questions in the chat here. B-Mail's bringing up an interesting by the news moves. Something I just passed Danny Cannell, and he was like, Ken's, people are putting Bo Nix as high as, because I've been pretty anti-Bo Nix from our whole Heisman situation, which I guess he remembers. He's like, they have some people have Bo Nix going as high as 12 in the 1st round. And I was like,
I don't buy it.
Okay. That's what I said.
Yeah. I mean, I think Denver is the favorite to draft him. And I was thinking plus 150 because they're the only team I've seen like linked in every draft to get him. He's at plus 150 to go to Denver on Hard Rock. So I was thinking of sprinkling a little on that today, but 12 is way too high, in my opinion.
Where are the Broncos? Let's pull up your mock draft here.
They're 12, but I could see them trading back in, which is what I had in my mock. 28th. I think Buffalo would have been a good spot for like maybe A.D. Mitchell, but the A.D. Mitchell news and his PFF score that we went over yesterday isn't good news for him. He's very comparable to George Pickens, but he's also comparable to guys like Kevin Austin who are busts. So he's a big boomer bust prospect. So I
didn't even know who Kevin Austin was prior to yesterday.
Yeah, so if I were recruiting, that's probably the only way you would know, or if you're a Notre Dame fan. But outside of that, not many people do.
Yeah. So just looking through your draft quick, basically same story as we've kind of been telling. We had JJ going 4 or 5. It looks like you're picking 5 here, trading with the Chargers. So trading with the Chargers here. The Chargers down low take
Fuaga.
Yeah.
The offensive lineman for Oregon State. And my reasoning there is he had a killer RAS score, killer PFF score, and he had a killer run blocking score and PFF, which is why his score was so elite. And if you know anything about Harbaugh, he loves to run the ball. And that's why I think he'd maybe go with Fuaga compared to more of a project like Latham or Fashanu, even though both of those guys are good. Fuaga is more of a run blocker right now, and I think he's going to want to establish the run behind Stevens' guy, Gus Edwards, or in front of Gus Edwards. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have that Fuaga there, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take anyone there. If Brock Bowers doesn't go 10 to Jets, I think the Jets is really where things got kind of hard, because I think the Jets could go Bowers, your guy Bowers, they could go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about, because we were talking about this morning and something we didn't mention on the show yesterday, some new findings that Jake has found looking at basically the trends that specific teams kind of go for. Some of them care about statistics and the PFF score, or more about RAS, or don't care about any of them at all. Taking a look at the Colts here, they've had a pretty strong trend of the way they like to draft. So we're feeling pretty confident here about Brian Thomas going there. Do you think, dare I say, you'd bet directly Brian Thomas to the Colts?
Yeah, if I had a line of Brian Thomas to the Colts, I would take that. And
okay.
I don't know what you get at, probably plus. I know Xavier Worthy was plus 400 to the Colts, and similarly, he has a good RAS. But Brian Thomas, I trust a little more, and he has the elite RAS compared to Xavier Worthy. It's just a little below. And the last 2 picks for the Colts in the first round were Anthony Richardson, who had a 10 RAS. And then the year before, I forget who it was, who had like a 999 RAS. So their average RAS score for the last 2 drafts is a 9.5. So they're getting the elite athletes, and that's what Brian Thomas is. So that's why I have him mocked to Indianapolis here.
Yeah,
I think they definitely take that into consideration. Well, some other teams, not so much.
Exactly. I want to mention that. But first, just people who weren't tuned in yesterday, RAS is your relative athletic score. So it's really just PFF's more like analytical, sports statistic-y. RAS is just pure athleticism, essentially, is the different things you're looking at. So Colts really love that stuff. Vegas seems to not be as huge into that. Someone who really doesn't give a shit about RAS or PFF or ranking, high school recruiting 24/7 ranking at all, the Niners, ironically.
Yeah, the Niners just go for any player who fits their system. So at 31, I can see them even trading out of that spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take anyone. A player that was interesting who really killed his PFF score but had terrible testing score was Tyler Nubin, the safety for Minnesota. In such a weak safety draft that the odds for a safety go the first round is like plus 1,200. He's an interesting spot just because San Francisco, you never know who they're going to take. I have no idea who they're going to take. I put Jordan Morgan because he is just a pretty good fit, I think, in San Francisco. He's also a West Coast guy playing in Arizona, but I could go anywhere. I think Penix is probably going to be a first rounder based on his latest odds is like minus 400 to go in the first round, answering your question. But I couldn't find a spot for him there because it was either have Bo Nix or Penix, and Bo Nix was getting some steam, but I wouldn't be surprised if 28th spot, if someone trades into that spot, it's either for Penix or Nix just to get that 5th-year option.
So what's even the version of the story where Bo Nix would be taken before 28th by the Broncos? Like, where is that even possible storyline coming from? Would the Broncos be trading up? Like, what?
They maybe trade down from 12 if they don't want to get one of these guys at 12 and they think they could add a couple of draft picks and build on Bo Nix. But I just think, I don't know, Byron Murphy was tested really well. He's undersized, but you've seen some of these undersized defensive tackles really shine in the NFL. That used to be a big concern, is undersized defensive tackles, defensive linemen, but not so much anymore with the Aaron Donalds. And last year, Tampa Bay's first-round pick, Elijah Kancey, he is in the same boat. He's undersized, but he was the 19th pick last year. I think Byron Murphy fits really well to Denver. I'm not buying the 12th overall buzz, but if they trade out of that could be a sign.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, good stuff there. I was looking at the Eagles here. I know a popular, from the fan base at least, other than Cooper Dijon, who people do like, but the Clemson tackle, someone else, now I'm blanking on his name, the Eagles fans were looking at wanting.
Clemson tackle? Maybe is it not Nate Wiggins, the cornerback?
No. It's like I'm gonna find it.
Rook, Ruke, or Oro. I don't know, but I don't think they have any prospects at tackle. Is it maybe Duke's tackle? Graham Barton? I don't know. I just think Philadelphia, they go for these high recruits from the Big Ten.
I just trust Howie with my life.
Yeah.
Wait, let me.
Last year, my dad's friend was texting Howie during the draft. It was funny.
Oh yeah, you told me
stop drafting all these Bulldogs.
It's awesome. Last year's draft was the best day of my life. For those who don't know, I am a Georgia Bulldog and Philadelphia girl, so that was pretty awesome for me. Okay, here we go. Oh, Trotter.
Linebacker.
Linebacker. Damn, my bad.
Yeah. Jeremiah Trotter. I don't think he goes in the first round, but it could be an interesting fit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's talk about the Panthers really quick. Seeing what their situation is here. Do they have a?
So they draft. They don't have a first round pick.
Okay.
The Caleb Williams pick was their pick. So it's pretty rough. But they have a couple early second round picks that I could definitely see Leggett being a fit for the Panthers, especially since he's a local guy, having played in South Carolina.
Mhm.
I definitely see him being a fit if he slips to like 33rd overall. I
Mhm.
also see Peyton Wilson, another local guy who tested really well, being a fit just because he gets all these Luke Kuechly comps, especially injury prone as well. So I could see that.
Totally. All right. I mean, we have really picked apart the draft. If anyone hasn't seen yesterday's episode, we had an episode last week, I believe, too, just going through that draft. Tomorrow, we'll definitely maybe hit some second round opinions. We'll definitely get into the weeds a little bit more. I'll be on CBS HQ later in the night tomorrow, breaking down some of the stuff we find out. So a lot of the success and the money can be made live through the draft, through the weekend. I think Jake will be the first to tell you that. So we'll
Yeah,
take a
plus
look at our
50
recap.
units last year. Yeah.
Yeah, wild. All right, take a look at the recap. Just some NBA today. Not a lot going on. Not really any late night MLB here. Tomorrow we'll talk about the entire weekend slate of NBA games. So get you guys ready for the entire weekend of playoffs. Again, talk about some draft stuff and any baseball that we feel is necessary to discuss. So lots to go over today. But with that, good luck with your guys' bets, and we will do the same thing tomorrow.